Welcome everybody, Steve here. Check out our next project. Now this table saw here has been sitting in my shop for about 15 years and it had a noise in it, so you know that there's a bearing going somewhere. So it was one of those tear down things and it just never got repaired. But I've been staring at it here for the last little while, thinking that we should give it an attempt, because I think it's going to be a good table saw. You know, I've got the right bed for it and the tables and everything like that. Well, I've got to build those, but I've got the structure for it, and I think I could make a go of it. What that'll do is expand my horizons. I can do more things now and have less time. Exactly what I wanted in my life. Anyway, I'm going to get a little closer here. This is an old Rockwell 34-450, whatever that is. But as far as I know, the motor's good. Started taking off the belts, got one more belt to take off, and I'll show you where I think the problem is. When you start looking at this is, it doesn't get any more simple than this. Basically the motor's down here and you got the shaft with another pulley here, arbor here, and it just goes onto a shaft. There's a worm gear down here, and when you turn this, worm gear just moves the blade up or moves the blade down. Now I think we have to have it just about all the way to the top. Don't know if I got my little flashlight here, if it even works. Right in here, that's got to clear everything. All I have to do basically, I think, is just take this bolt out, pull it off the shaft, and then I can work on this part here where I think the problem is. But we got to take off this belt, confirm that this is the problem, then we can go ahead with removing that. So I loosen off the motor, so you can just lift it up. There we go. Yeah, the motor sounds okay. Okay, hear that? You can tell that there's a bearing going. You could probably run that for a little while. It's not clunking, but it would seize up just when you didn't want it to. So I confirmed my suspicions. So let's take this off. Give it a little bit of penetrating oil. All right, I think I can get a bar in there. Okay, that's moving. We got to make sure that when I put it back together here, that I get everything in the right spot. Kind of at the end here, so let's just see. Well, that come off way easier than I thought. Something as old as I am, probably. Nah. Oh, that wasn't very tight. Loosen off the set screw on this pulley. That's pretty tight. Okay, the shaft looks like it comes out this way. There's even a retainer in here to kind of hold the bearing in. But I'm using a punch so I don't have to hit the shaft. Stuff falling behind me here. All right. So that goes on there like this, and like that. Take a picture of that so I know. So we have that bearing shot for sure. So that little collar goes right there. Okay. I think we take some pictures here, pull some bearings. Nice thing about having her on camera, we got everything on there. This is a little collar first. And then we just got to take that bearing off. This little retainer here, it's coming good. I'm not tapping it that hard because I don't really want to damage too much of that. Kind of missed some of it when I was filming there, but it looks really good. So now the bearing should make it a little easier to pop it out, but we got threads on this side, so I think the bearing's got to go that way. I'm not sure. Oh, I see there's a little bit of a collar there. Yep. So the bearing's got to come out this way. That come out easy. So there's the rigging that we got to pull that bearing off. So, again, I don't want to wreck the shaft. You should be wearing a glove. This is a 6203, and that bearing she's pretty tight. They're both 6203s. Wow. It's rare that you see that. Beautiful. I'll pick two of those up, put this thing back together. Finally got some bearings. I got some good quality ones, NTN, that's a nice name. And you're only doing this once, so don't cheap out and get some cheap bearings. And even a good one, you know, my price is only about 10 bucks a piece, so this is a real cheap fix, so it's not that bad at all. Anyway, I had to, so you can sit there and slowly pound that down a little bit, but man, that's a lot of work. And you have a good chance of slipping and putting a punch, you know, through your protective sleeve here. So I built myself a little driver, just a piece of square tubing. I didn't have anything that was perfect for this. And I just put a washer on the end, and then I'll be able to just drive it straight down with that without damaging anything. So probably give it a little bit of lube here first before I start driving things in. So I'll grab that. We'll just tap her down. Beautiful. Perfect. These bushings here are beveled, and I just want the one with the real good bevel. That'll go on the bottom race, or the inside race. It's a little tight. Just goes like that. And this piece is just a little spring washer. Kind of keeps just keeps it a little tighter. We will put that in first. Okay, looks good. Now it's all going to kind of go together. I'm going to be set up in the vise here. Just like this. Put the keyway in. Okay, before we get going too far, I think that other bushing will go in on the other side, or spacer. Yeah, it kind of looks like it. I think I could probably use my driver here. Pound that in. See if that works. Okay. fit in there. So we have to just pound that down from the top, I guess. Put a nut on there. Well, this bearing doesn't have to go in too far, so we can tap it in slowly. I think we're bottomed out there now. Check her out. Everything looks good. It's not loose one way or the other. This little ring goes on there now. Holds that bearing nice and tight. I really want that to go on good though. Just give it a little buff first. We don't have to have this uber tight, but we want it snug. This is not going to vibrate out on us. Now, we just have this little piece here. This is kind of a lock for the nut. That goes in. And then we just have to put the nut in. Okay, I'm gonna go find it first. Now all we have to do is just take a screwdriver and bend this little piece of, just that little piece of metal, just bend it over so that it kind of stops that nut from loosening off. And we just have to put the set screw in the pulley, and I think we're ready to go. We can install this. you can just see the worm gear. And I'm just putting a real light coat of grease on there, just using a toothbrush. You know, you shouldn't put too much grease on anything that's woodwork, because man, everything just sticks right to it, right? And we'll, I guess these are the trunnions. We'll grease them up real light, you know, just so that everything moves freely in the future. Maybe a little bit down there while we got room. All right, without this on here, you know, holding it all together, this whole mechanism drops down. So I've got a strap holding it up. And now we should be able to just line it up. If not, what ends up happening is that this will hit on the side down below where you can't see it. Come on. I have to take a look at that. Maybe that's a little marred up at the end. Could have been danger. Yeah, it's a little marred up. I'll just smooth that out. Put it back in. Put just a little bit of a bevel on there so it'll help start it a little bit. And let's hope that that's going to slide on easy. Give it a little help. Kind of mesh up with those teeth on the bottom of that. Gotta make sure things on. There we go. Just like that. We got her. This was flush. And now what you do is just tighten her up. And she's a good fix. A reasonable fix. Nothing expensive. And and not too hard to do. Now we just install these belts one at a time. Feels good. Now we can release the strap. Check everything, make sure that it's working properly. Beautiful. Okay, the weight of the motor now is down and the belts are snug enough. I can tighten that back bolt up now that holds the motor, and job complete. Well, as a bearing change goes, this is one of the easier ones I've ever done. You know, this was a lot simpler than I thought it was going to be. And I know that some of these newer table saws are quite complex, but this is back when things were simple, and it's going to work for a long, long time. You know, I'm not a production guy or anything like that. I don't need to have brand new, and it's going to work out great. All right, I started up for you, but I don't have the right plug-in in my shop to run this. I need the 20 amp plug-in. But let's continue on, and we'll show you what else we got to do to this. Well, that was heavy enough. Now, all it is 4 bolts on here, and we're going to set this whole thing up in my shop in town. And of course, you know, when you're putting on your top, the most important thing is to make sure that it's running parallel with your blade. Then, maybe I'll zoom way back. This is the beginning of our fence system here. It's just a bunch of T-nuts. Well, I see all the little ones fell out. Oh yeah, that one's a little tight. Let me get a wrench. Okay, now you can start to see the vision. This is a pretty long fence. I can cut a pretty nice chunk of plywood with this, but in the next segment, we're going to build a table for over here, or down the road segment. Table over there, outfeed table over here, It's going to be so nice to have a nice big table saw. The problem with the big table saw is where do you put a big table saw? You have to have the room for it. So what I'm going to try and do is I'm going to try and build it modular so that I can actually take this apart and then store this in the corner somewhere. You really don't like to do that, but sometimes you just have to do that. Okay, we got our bearings done. If you got some squeaky or you're making some weird noises, don't be afraid to tackle it. This was a good job. I waited too long to get it done, but I know you can do it. I hope you got a couple tips from this, and now you're good to go for yourself. Okay, till next time, stay tuned.